Thanks, Austin, for being on here.
Oh, I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
inviting me.
So I love this. I literally know nothing about you other than the fact that we just did our first deal together.
Yes. And that was such a smooth
Oh,
transaction
good.
too.
I'm so glad.
Yes.
I love to hear that. And so we met, you called me and told me, hey, I'm going to be representing these clients. And you and I kind of started talking. And you told me, hey, I've been seeing your videos or whatever on TikTok. And I remember, oh, okay. And it's funny how you don't realize people like looking at stuff. And that's kind of what spurred the conversation about video, social media, and kind of all that stuff. And so I asked you then a couple weeks ago, would you want to come on here? Because I thought if you're into video and you're doing that kind of stuff, then surely you could like come on here and kind of be cool about
definitely.
talking about stuff. Okay. So since I don't know anything, tell me your story. Like, when did you get into real estate? How did this happen?
Ooh. I got into real estate. It was around 2019, 2020, around
okay.
that time. And interesting enough, I actually took all of my real estate education in 2017, right out of high school.
Okay.
But something stopped me from like diving in right after that.
Okay.
Like I took a couple of years off, did a couple of other jobs, and then I don't know what pushed me to finally be like, hey, you took this education, you went through college for this, like it's time to get on the ball and get this going.
Yeah.
And so around 2019, 2020, I officially took my real estate exams, passed it, and then was full into real estate from the get-go.
Okay. So you left behind other jobs you had and you're like, I'm going in with both feet.
Yes, I
Okay.
did. And it was rough, to say the least. It took a lot of learning,
Okay.
for sure.
Learning in what sense?
In a sense of, so of course this is years ago.
Yeah.
And I have definitely changed since then. But whenever I originally got into real estate, I had an ego. Like, oh, I don't need a team. I don't need a brick and mortar like office. I
Okay.
can go out and do this on my own and absolutely kill it.
Yeah.
Worst decision ever.
How did you figure that out?
I was so lost. At first, I didn't know how to bring in clients.
Okay. Yeah.
Once I finally did get my first few clients, I didn't even know where to go from there.
Yeah.
Who I should be contacting, title offices, lenders, what questions I should be asking. I mean, it was a complete mess and a lot of Google searches whenever
Yeah.
I first started.
Yeah. So where did you start when you first got your license? You're a Progressive now, right?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
at Progressive now.
Okay.
Whenever I first started, so here's where it gets tricky.
Okay.
This agent down there in Dallas, she used to be over here in the Amarillo area. Wonderful person, by the way. Her name was Jessie Gunn. Wonderful person. She had a real estate team called the Glam House Group. Mm-hmm. And I was originally going to join her team as soon as I got licensed, right? Because she painted this huge vision of like what the Glam House Group could be. Mm-hmm. And I loved it. Mm-hmm. As soon as I got licensed, I went down to Amarillo and found out that she was moving to Dallas.
Oh no. So your plan kind of fell apart.
Plan fell completely apart.
Yeah.
And that's whenever I got that sense of like, well, you know what? I can do this on my own.
Gotcha.
Like, I got
Yeah.
this. I got
Yeah.
this.
I'm good.
So I stayed at EXP for, I think, 6 months up to a year. No transactions whatsoever.
Yeah.
And then another person reached out to me. His name is Zach Conder. He's here in Lubbock. No longer an agent, but he was whenever he reached out. Mm-hmm. And he had what was called Raptor Realty Group. Uh-huh. And at this point, I was struggling, of course, because I had that egotistical mind, like, oh, I can do this on my own. Huge mistake. So he came in, offered me a position on his team, and it was just me and him. And he mentored me throughout the next year that I was in it. And he was with Real Broker. I should have said that.
Oh,
so I left
yeah.
EXP, went to Real Broker LLC, which is another cloud-based brokerage. And that's whenever I started getting really big on social media. He paid for me to take a social media course,
Oh,
which
okay.
I will forever be grateful for.
Really?
Thank you, Zach, if you're watching this.
Hey.
Because
Okay.
that's kind of how I got integrated into social media and how big it could be for the business.
Okay.
Well, after about a year or so, he decided that he wanted to go a different route and get out of real estate. So I was kind of back to square one
Yeah.
again. And me and Zach had done many deals. And that was that. I think I did my second biggest transaction ever with him on my side, listing, and it was absolutely wonderful. And then he decided to get out of real estate. So I was back to square one of like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Where am I going to go with my life? Like, and at this point, I was having a lot of mental struggles because it just kind of reminded me of the whole Jesse Gunn incident.
Yeah.
Like, I'm back to square
Yeah.
one. Zach was my mentor, and he did everything with me. You know, he was by my side through every single transaction. Now I'm starting to feel lost. And I remember I was a substitute teacher at Smyre ISD at the time. And I broke down in one of the offices. And I just started praying. And I just started saying, like, Lord, I'm lost. I need some guidance. I need some place to go. I know I got into real estate for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
But Lord, I need your help now. And then something clicked. Out of nowhere, and this is literally out of nowhere, I started seeing progressive property agents on all of my social media feeds. Jaden Stagner, Jason Reeby, whenever he was there. I mean, it was wild. So I was like, you know what? Let me reach out to one of these agents and let me just see where this goes.
Yeah.
And so I met with Jason Reeby, and he kind of gave me a tour of Progressive and told me what Progressive was all about. And as soon as I toured the office and talked to a couple of the agents over there, I knew that this is where I needed to be, and this is where God was guiding me to be. And it was just all uphill from there.
That's awesome. So when was that?
That would have been right around 2021, 2022-ish.
Okay.
Around there.
So this was, well, it's after COVID, but still
Yes.
in that early after COVID area. that
Yes,
you moved
yes,
over
yes,
there.
definitely.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So you moved over there. And so then, and that's the funny thing. You talk about cloud-based or brick and mortar. And I think that's one of those things that kind of shows you it takes all kinds. Because some
Yes.
people can definitely thrive under a cloud-based brokerage. And then,
Yes.
but then some people need the brick and mortar. They need to be around the people and all those things. And so, yeah,
Yes.
it just takes all kinds, I think.
Yeah, and that comes into, because I've talked to a couple of newer agents that have gotten their real estate license. A good buddy of mine who got into real estate. And, I told them my experience, and I told them, like, listen, if this is something that you are for sure going to do, like, for the rest of your life, you want to do real estate, each person is different, of course. But I highly recommend, if you don't want to join a team, at least join a local brokerage.
Right.
That way you have that support and the help, because
Yeah.
you're going to need a lot of help.
Right.
throughout
Oh,
your
in the very
first
beginning.
transactions.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. And I definitely agree with that. Yeah. Okay. So you move over there. So then did you just kind of keep going with your social media and just keep growing that?
I did, actually. So to this point, and I actually ran all the numbers and everything like
Okay.
that,
Yeah.
98% of my business, since I've started in real estate, has come from social media.
That's insane.
Whether it's someone that's directly seeing my content
Uh-huh.
or a referral from somebody else who saw my content on
Wow.
social media. And honestly, it all started with Facebook Lives.
Facebook Lives.
Facebook Lives. I remember the day I did my very first Facebook Live. It was a land listing that
Okay.
Casey Hughes had.
Okay.
And so I drove out there, and originally I was just going to take photos and just post it on there. But then I was like, you know what? Let's just do a live video and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
If I mess up, I mess up.
Sure.
Let me just throw myself out there.
Yeah.
And that video got so many reactions and comments, and I got so many buyers from it. So I was
Really?
like, you know what? This is great. Like,
Yeah.
social media is where it is at, and social
agree.
media is where my business is going to thrive.
So you did that. You made one Facebook Live, and then did you just think, okay, I'm just going to keep doing this, or kind of what was your plan?
Yeah, so social media all the way. I tried door knocking, open houses. I'm not very good at, I guess. I don't know. Open houses are different. You have good ones and you have
Sure,
bad ones, of
yeah.
course, but it just wasn't producing the kind of results that my social media was.
Right.
I farmed neighborhoods and everything too, and it still wasn't producing the amount of clientele that I was getting from social media. So
Yeah.
at that point, I just kind of decided like, I'm just going to focus on
Yeah.
social media.
What forms do you use?
Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. I tried LinkedIn, but that one
Yeah,
was
that's
kind
I know.
of
It's a little
weird.
weird, yeah.
So yeah, so my main one is of course Facebook.
Okay. So you started doing that, and you and I were talking about this before we started recording, because you asked me the question like, were you nervous about this podcast and just starting it and
Yeah.
everything? And I told you that I had like a literal meltdown the first time before I recorded, and just the whole idea of putting yourself out there and people judging you. And so let's talk about that for a minute.
Okay.
Like that to me, that's what keeps people, like holds them back from doing this types
Yes,
of things.
definitely.
Is they're so scared of what people are going to think about them.
Yes.
So how did you get past that?
It just got to the point, I grew up in a Christian household, of course. And of course my religion has come and gone, but it's stronger now more than ever. But it got to the point to where I told myself like, people can judge me all they want.
And they're going to,
Yes,
regardless of what you do.
exactly.
Yeah.
Only God can judge my true actions and everything, and that's the only one I care about. Everybody else, if they have something bad to say, something negative, if I say something wrong, oh well.
Yeah.
Because only God can judge me.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like you're constantly judged by what you wear, what you say, what you post on social media, what you don't post.
Yes.
Like they're going to have an opinion about you regardless, so you might as well do the things that you enjoy. And again, it's not just about going out there and just doing whatever you want. Morally, yes, I get that I have a moral compass.
Yeah.
I'm a faithful person, so I get that too. But I mean, people are going to have an opinion about you regardless.
Definitely.
So you might as well at least do something, and if that's helping your business, that's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I've always been very eccentric and outgoing, so I guess that kind of helped me out as
Yeah.
well. I used to be a cheerleader in high school.
Okay.
So I always, always in front of big crowds,
Yeah.
stands and stuff like that. So I think that really helped me out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So where did you grow up?
Smyre, Texas.
Oh, you did grow up in
Yes,
Smyre. Okay.
Smyre, Texas.
So
Little
is-
farming town.
Okay. So is that where you were a cheerleader?
Yes,
Okay,
it was.
that's awesome. I
Yes.
love that.
Oh, it's crazy. I did cheerleading, stock show, FFA, super involved in that.
Yeah.
And then even rode bulls a couple times in high school
Wow.
too. So,
I wouldn't have guessed that.
right? A lot of people really don't.
I mean, the cowboy, yes, I get, but I wouldn't have guessed the bulls. That's
Yeah.
hilarious. So where did you said you did go to college?
yeah, South Plains College.
Okay, you went to South Plains.
Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. Well, I love that, you're not scared to put yourself out there and do all of that.
Well, it's not so much that I wasn't scared. It's also to the point to where it's like, if you're going to be successful in business, you're going to be put in uncomfortable situations. And you're just going to have to overcome those hurdles. If you stay, if you don't get out of those comfortable zones, then you're never going to reach that next level.
Yeah. Yeah. So then what advice would you have? Two questions. What advice would you have for a new agent who's thinking about getting into the business? But then also even for the seasoned agents that maybe they haven't gotten into video, or they're wanting to do that, but they're just afraid. Like, two questions there, but just tell me what you think about both of those.
Let's see here. As far as new agents go in all the way. If you need to get a part-time job, by all means go for it, because I know, you've got to pay the bills, you got to take care of your family. But be sure it's structured enough to where you can spend a majority of your time working on your real estate business. Don't be scared of doing something wrong. There's always going to be mistakes, no matter how seasoned or how new of an agent you are. I'm still learning about new things to this day.
Yeah.
That I never knew about back then. So it's always you're always going to be learning something new.
Yeah.
Don't be scared. Just go in it all the way. Seasoned agents, it sounds kind of difficult because,
Yeah.
they're kind of already stuck in their ways per se, but you've got to try new things.
Yeah.
The world is changing. Everything's evolving. Now you got AI and stuff like that that's being utilized. You have got to stay on top of the new trends.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I haven't looked at the statistic or I haven't looked at it in a while, but I have seen the ones where they talk about how people found their real estate agent. And the majority of them, if it's not word of mouth, then they go online.
Yes.
And so I do think that an online presence is so important because
Yes.
you're their first, like, if, say, even if like you were referred, chances are they're going to look you up.
Yep.
And so what they see of you is their first impression.
Definitely.
And that's what you and I were talking about too, is not having this polished, perfect impression, because I personally don't feel like that's what people want
Yeah.
nowadays. Maybe once upon a time they did. You know, that's how realtors were. You know, it was the suit, the tie.
Oh, yes.
I think we've gotten away from that. And so, can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, we definitely have. It's more of like people don't really. Of course, you have those agents who do dress up in suits and ties and stuff like that, and there's nothing wrong with
No.
that. They want to present themselves. They want to present themselves in a certain demeanor and everything. But it's more of the fact that people don't care about what you wear. They just care about, are you able to get their home sold? Are you able to help them buy a house?
Yeah.
And that's it, really.
Yeah. Do they if they like you and they trust you,
Yes.
and do they trust that you're going to be able to do those things for you
100%.
and to be able to represent you and to have your best interest in mind?
Yes, and
Yeah.
that's the big thing right there. And then back to the whole polished thing, it's there's too much educational content out there, and I've seen so many agents that's all they post is, how can you get your closing costs lower, down payment assistance, like check out the interest rates, people are going to get tired of that. No one's going to scroll down through Facebook and be like, oh, let me just watch this 5-minute long video about how I can lower my interest rate,
Yeah.
But instead, they want to see who you are as a person. They want to get a glimpse into your life because you're going to be the one representing them.
Yeah. So what kind of content do you mostly post?
I like to do a mix of stuff, of course. So I have my real estate stuff, of course, and every now and then I'll do professional content, like educational videos, I should say. But mostly, I like to do motivational content.
Okay.
In which, if you scroll through my Facebook and stuff like that, you see a lot of
Yeah.
lot of Bible verses and motivational posts, and like, just because that's just who I am.
Yeah.
I want to be. I don't want to be known as just a realtor. I want to be known as someone who has been in their shoes, who has struggled with whatever they're struggling with, and to let them know, like, hey, listen, like, there's a way out.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. So, and would you say that most of your people that you work with, do you really try to, like, I would assume, because you seem like a relational person, that it's not just about a one-time transaction, that you really want to have them as clients for life?
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
So how do you kind of change that from they closed down their house to them being a client for life?
It all just depends on how you do the transaction, and you have different agents that do different things. You have some agents who are just solely there for the business, and then that's it.
Yeah.
But no, you have to check in on them, see how they're doing and stuff like that. My last set of clients, take that for example. They were moving from out of town, and they needed to know, like, what churches are good around here, what food spots are good around here. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
I recommended the churches that I go to, and I told them, as soon as we close this deal, like, I'll be more than happy to attend a church service
Yeah.
with you. Like, this is going to be great,
Yeah.
I stay in contact with them, holiday cards, stuff like that, and it's just about always being there.
Yeah.
Plus, they typically follow me on social media,
Yeah.
so they can see.
They know where you are.
Yes.
Yeah. I like that. Okay, so back to, like, when you first got started, you moved over to Progressive.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you say, I mean, and it could be back from then, even now, has been the most influential in your career?
There's been quite a few people.
Yeah, and it could be more than one.
Yeah, so Jesse Gunn, for one, for pushing me to get my real estate license, helping me out there. Zach Conder for giving me the knowledge and the help to really succeed and get everything started and going. I'd have to say the biggest inspirational person is my broker, Brandon Tyler. Whenever I joined Progressive, I wasn't all there as far as my mindset goes. You know, I was battling a lot of stuff. Recently lost my father to cancer, and I was just it was just like a downhill spiral
Yeah.
until I joined Progressive. And our broker has Bible studies that he does every Thursday. He's a very like Christian oriented person, but not only that, I mean, the way that he presents himself and the way that he sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to word this. It's more of I look up to him because of the person that he is.
Yeah. He leads by example.
He leads by example. He is pretty up there financially. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
But you would never know
Yeah.
because he is so humble.
Yeah.
The Bible studies has definitely helped. I have went to him with personal issues before, and he has helped me overcome those.
Yeah. That's
and
awesome.
so I would have to say he is the biggest inspiration.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. When Brandon, when he was a baby realtor, I worked at Coldwell Banker when
You worked with him.
I did.
Oh, wow.
He was a baby realtor. And, because when I first got into the mortgage business, I was a mortgage processor, which is like the backside. So you have your loan officer and they have a processor. They're the ones doing all the behind the scenes
Okay.
work. And Coldwell Banker had a mortgage company inside that office at that time. So that was in 2006. And so that's when, so I know
Oh,
Brandon
wow.
from way long time
That's
ago.
so
I know.
cool.
Yeah. So and it's been fun to see how he's changed and grown over time and the success
Yes.
that he's had. Yeah. That's awesome.
So cool we know him.
I know. And it's, that's the thing about Lubbock. It is like the biggest small town there is.
Oh my goodness,
Where
yes.
everybody's just so interconnected. It's hard not to know
I
somebody.
can't tell you how many times I've gone to this store, the Walmart up the road,
Yeah.
and it never fails, I see at least one person
Yeah.
that I know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, so I started following this behavior psychologist recently and talking about the new year and goals and all that. She was saying how you should really reframe a question of, instead of asking someone, what are your goals? Ask them, what are they excited about? And I feel like that reframes that question so much, instead of like, what am I excited about? So what are you excited about, Austin, for this new year?
There's a lot of things to be excited for.
Yeah.
So my real estate business, of course, is building up tremendously.
Yeah.
True blessing right there. This year, I have started a notary business, Kingdom Seal Notary Services.
Mm-hmm.
And now my husband Isaiah has taken that over because now, by the grace of God, this fell in my lap. A couple of colleagues of mine have started or wanted to start a solar panel cleaning and preventative maintenance company.
Okay. Wow.
And so,
Say that again. A what company?
yeah, solar panel cleaning and preventative
Cleaning,
maintenance.
maintenance,
So
okay.
it's called Texas Solar Maintenance Group.
Okay.
And so we just started it up literally December. So 2025 is going to be the first full year of operation. And I am so excited. I'm so ecstatic about it. Just because, I prayed to God for so many different things and just for financial abundance in my life. And this literally just fell into my lap.
Yeah. Yeah. So how are you going to, that's a lot to do. How
Yes.
are you going to manage all that?
So Isaiah's taking over the notary business
Okay.
full time. So
Were you doing a lot of notary stuff?
I was.
I didn't
And-
know that. Had no idea.
Yeah, and it's been an absolute blessing, of
Okay.
course. Now that he's taken that on, I can now focus, because my real estate business is pretty much on autopilot at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I'm not having to go out there per se and bring in clients because
Yeah.
I'm getting lots of referrals and social media outreach.
Mm-hmm.
So with that help, thank goodness, I can actually focus a lot more time on the Texas Solar Maintenance Group
Okay.
project.
I'm curious, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but this was kind of the first thing I thought of when you said that. Okay, so if your business is, if you're really starting to get in more referrals and all that, I know you're at Progressive, but are you by yourself? Are you a solo agent?
Yes.
So do you think that you would ever start a team or anything?
I don't think I ever will.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. my goal is to not be in real estate forever.
Yeah.
Of course, I'll start investing
Sure.
at some point,
Mm-hmm.
but the goal is to build these businesses up to where I have enough residual income to where I can actually do what I want to do,
Sure.
which is like I have plans to open charities. I have plans to do a homeless outreach.
Oh, I
and
love
like
that.
that's all I want to do is just
Yeah.
I want to be able to help the less fortunate and people in need.
Mm.
And the only way I can do that is to, and, I hate to say it, but I have to gain wealth in order
Well,
to do that.
I mean, money is only good for the good it can do.
Yes.
And so you're right. I mean, you have to have money to do those things. And so I love that. I'm curious, what is your connection with nonprofit, and is it the homeless specifically, or?
Yes. So as far as the nonprofit goes, so our father got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And it was very hard on us out of nowhere. This is whenever I first started in real estate too. So that had a lot to do with it whenever I first started. And I was working out of the hospital 24/7. My mom wasn't able to like slow down at her job per se because income still had to be made in order to pay the bills. So after he finally passed away and we started getting all these hospital bills and then the funeral cost and everything like that, it dawned upon me like I know other people are facing these financial struggles as well.
Yeah.
And there are people who are less fortunate than we were that I don't know how they're making it.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the nonprofits that I do want to start up. It's still in the planning stages, but
Yeah.
to somehow be able to help out these families financially while their loved one is going through what they're going through.
Yeah.
The homeless outreach part has a lot to do with Progressive Properties, actually. So whenever I first joined Progressive Properties, they had this deal set up with, I forget the name, but we would go over there once a week and help pass out meals.
Is it St. Benedict's?
Yes, there we go.
Okay.
Yes, St. Benedict's.
This is really funny that this is a small world too. I used to be on the board of St. Benedict's.
Really?
I'm not anymore just because I couldn't commit to being on the
Yeah.
meetings. I help a team that serves meals there too. And a long time ago, before I had this team, my family and I had a team, and we would go do that.
I love that.
And yes, so I have a very, very big spot for St.
Yeah.
Benedict's because of what they do and the things that you see there, and it changes you.
Yes. Oh my goodness. The first time I went, I didn't know what I was getting myself
Yeah.
into. I've always been a kind and generous person. If someone's in need, I'll give my last penny to them. But to actually be there preparing these meals and seeing how happy these people were to receive these meals. I mean, you had people coming with kids and everything, and it broke my heart.
Yeah, it does.
And it broke my heart, but at the same time, it was such a blessing too that St. Benedict's was there to be able to provide for
Yeah.
these families.
Yeah, I love that.
And so, Progressive Properties, every Christmas, we do a deal to where we put together wellness bags, and we will go and pass them out to the homeless people that
Yeah.
we see. And like, we literally just hop in cars and we just go.
Yeah.
And so, that's something that has just been on my heart lately.
Yeah.
And it just impacted me in such a huge way. And it all started with Progressive Properties and the St. Benedict's deal. First time, like I said, the first time I served there, it crushed me
Yeah.
because a lot of people really don't see the lives that they are living and how they're able to get food and stuff like that. I heard this story. It's not a story. This, our broker, of course, but he was driving through an alley one day, and he saw somebody digging through the dumpster. And so he was just wondering what was going on. He pulled up to see what this dude was doing, and he saw that he was chewing on something, and he looked homeless. And so he rolled down his window, asked him what he was doing, and he said that he's digging for food because St. Benedict's isn't open yet, and he hasn't eaten in a couple of days. And so, of course, BT told him to hop in his truck. He took him somewhere, fed him, and stuff like that. But just hearing that story, and like, I wasn't there to experience it, but I can just only imagine, like, the life that dude has had, and the fact that he's having to dig through a dumpster just for food. It just breaks me.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's what's so humbling about that story and that place is that's the part of life that we don't see. It's really easy over here in Southwest Lubbock
Yeah.
to be so isolated and not know what goes on. And the sad thing is it doesn't have to be Southwest Lubbock. There's a whole lot of veterans out there,
Yeah.
a lot of people, single moms, people on fixed incomes that they're not homeless, but they don't even have enough money to have enough meals.
Yes.
And so that's who it serves as well. And so I love that you helped there and that you guys, I think I'd seen posts on that before of Progressive helping them.
Yeah.
But it's, yes, very special place in my heart. We got connected with it. It actually popped up in my Facebook memories last week. My son, who is 20 years old, when we went to church at Monterey Church of Christ for a long time.
That's where my church is.
Okay, how funny.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Pastor Barry Stevens.
Okay, yeah. And well, so my son Kyle, they picked like 4 people to give $25 to. And then they're like, we want to give you this $25 and we want you to do bless somebody with it. And you're going to come up in front of the church and then tell everybody what you did with it. So my son he's like, I want to go eat with a homeless person. Now this is before we were involved at St. Benedict's.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know how to just go do that, right?
Yeah.
So Aaron Dawson, I got him and I was like, Aaron, I need your help. This is what Kyle wants to do. And so he's like, can I take him to St. Benedict's? And I was like, yeah. So they go down there and they take one of the ladies they took her to Chili's and took her to eat. And so Kyle's experience he was probably 11 at the time, talks about that. And that is the reason why our family made a team to start there that got me involved to be on
That
the
is
board.
absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it is. And so I love that y'all are involved there because I think it's such a humbling experience to see how a good portion of people have to live. And there's so much judgment. I mean, I could talk about this for hours. There's so much judgment around homelessness and all that.
Yeah.
But they're still people and they still need
Yes,
love.
definitely.
Yeah.
And you don't know their story, you know, or how they got to that point.
Yeah.
And who are you to judge? Because that could be you.
It could be you.
You could have taken a wrong turn somewhere in life, or something could have happened that could have led down that path.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Well, that is so cool. And I don't even remember how we got off on talking about that. You were talking about the nonprofits that you wanted to start.
Yes.
I love your heart. And I just feel like you're going to be so successful because God
Thank
sees your
you.
heart and God blesses those people that want to bless others. And so keep doing what you're doing. And I'm excited to see what you do with the businesses you've got.
Yeah.
And then obviously your real estate business.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is there anything else you want to add?
There's nothing else I can think
Okay.
of. I mean, I feel like we pretty
Yeah.
much covered quite a bit.
Well, tell people where they can find you on social media.
Yes, so you can find me on Facebook, of course, just Austin Brown or Austin Sells Lubbock. I got 2 different
Okay.
pages, personal or business. It doesn't matter which one you follow.
Okay.
Instagram, it is Mr. 10X Real Estate. And then TikTok, it's the same thing.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Well, I'm excited to continue to see the content you put out there. I love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. And I'm excited to see how 2025 is for you.
it's going to be a true blessing, I can tell you that. I mean, there's big things coming. God has prepared many things that I am fully prepared to execute on his behalf.
That's awesome. Well, keep doing it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.